Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh to some of you, and peace out to the rest of you. Black heart, black mind, sign and black end, shining again. Hit that share button because the message is more important than the messenger. And I have a commentator that said that frankly, he has a theory, and I think the theory makes some sense. He said that what he suspects is going on now is that many women are trying to shame men who refuse to be stepfathers for the same reason that you see a lot of paternity fraud cases being discovered. That they're shaming men who won't be stepfathers because shaming men that won't do that because, frankly, they know that they're in a bind now with DNA testing being what it is and being as sharp as it is. You see, initially there were blood tests, and they could eliminate in certain combinations paternity based on blood. I mean, certain blood types a father might have, and therefore the children could not pick up certain blood types from them, but it was not as serious as it is now. It was not as detailed. So even back then, many women started to say, well, you know, a real man is willing to take care of somebody else's kids too. I started to hear this. When I think about it, granted, I was a small kid, so it could have been just my first time hearing it. But when we started hearing about blood tests, it was the same thing. It was the same time as I started hearing women saying that, you know, they're single moms, so they got to look at men that are going to be good role models for their kids. And like this is, you know, one man's job when it's another man that busted the nut. So at the end of it all, I'm pretty much done for the same reason that many of you were done. Whatever men want, be damned. What you want is automatically bad in any case in the eyes of many of the women, especially if you are a normal man. So forget whatever else you bring to the table. What this commentator theorized, and I'm sorry for forgetting the name, but I can't look at my phone's studio right now because I'm driving and I'm operating the phone hands-free. If I pick this phone up, these cameras are going to catch it, and it's my behind. I want to make this clear as to what I think is going on. I think that his theory is correct, that there's this emphasis on being stepdads that coincides with the technological advances that have progressively made paternity fraud more difficult. So in a nutshell, what these women are saying is that they would rather set up a culture wherein they can screw one and breed and then tell someone else to feed than they would to simply make the difficult choice of choosing the right father for their children. They're just simply saying, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to sit up here and make a choice between the muscle he has to have and the money he has to have. I want the man who's got the muscle to breed. And I want the man who's got the money to feed. And if they can't be the same one, then I would throw my head back to the skies and curse God and then commit paternity fraud before I would sit up here and actually make a choice like an adult. I want y'all to stop and think about that. They are not playing games. They are doing what they do out of a serious hatred for the reality that Allah created for both men and women. That's all that's going on here. They hate Allah because he won't make men perfect for them. They don't hate him because he made the women flawed too, and we got to make choices. And we always got to make them. We got to take things that aren't even mutually exclusive and choose between them, because the women will artificially make non-mutually exclusive things mutually exclusive just so we don't have it too good. And they don't have to be Western to do that. I've seen that on the subconscious level regardless of culture. It's just a hell of a lot worse in Western culture, and it's more conscious. But understand that that's why I said they mean you harm. That's why I've said this is war. They are taking that which is perfectly okay to come together, perfectly reasonable to expect to come together, and separating them and saying, not both. And they're taking things that are mutually exclusive and demanding that you accept both if they're bad, and they're taking things that aren't mutually exclusive if they're good and demanding that you pick between them. And even to the point where they're saying, no, I'm not going to give up the muscle or the money. So when I tell you this is war, I'm not speaking in terms of hyperbole or because I'm socially awkward or because of what I just wasn't getting when I was younger, although I feel I have the right to do that. Not even because women owed anything except the truth, but because the truth that women owed, they didn't give. Not just to me, but to men in general. Or they would show the truth to the men with the muscles. They would show it, but they wouldn't tell the truth to anybody. Actually, if they told the truth, they were more likely to tell the truth to the men with the muscle and lie to the men with the money. Because again, as I've said, what they were not going to do was sit there and make an adult decision. And they could, they can't logically say, well, who said that money and muscle can't come in the same man? And I agree. You don't necessarily, they don't have to be mutually exclusive all the time, but in many cases they will be for this reason. Nobody's going to pay men for their gym memberships. People don't pay men to lift weights. Now, an actor may be paid more if he lifts weights. Yeah, that's different. But nobody's going to pay a man to lift weights. That's not going to happen. Now, you can take a woman that gets with a man when he doesn't have much. Then he gets more. More women are throwing themselves at him, and they got bigger tits and bigger boobs. And she may say, listen, you know what? Let's make this easy on you. Just buy me some boobs and a booty. And he will pay for her to get them. When it comes down to it, a man cannot go to any woman and say, listen, I would like for you to pay for my gym membership so that I can get these muscles that you want me to have, since I already, I make enough money, but I can't be in the gym all the time and maintain this lifestyle. So how about you work, you pay for my gym membership, I cover the rest. Even that would be too much to ask. But what I want you to understand is that in the face of having to make adult choices, my commentator theorized that that's part of why it is that these women have come up with this culture that they've come up with. And I think when I think about it, first there was the blood test that had a limited reliability and accuracy. But you know what? That's when I first started hearing about, you got to be a stepfather. You got to take on me with kids. Maybe it was being talked about and pressed on men before, but I first started hearing it at that point. And by the time we got DNA testing, it's like now they're going to sit up and say, well, I can be a hoe and a thought, and, I don't owe you nothing, but you owe me commitment and taking care of my kids by other men. That's real. That's what we've gotten right now. And when they come up with ways, they probably have already done so. When they can DNA test the baby that's in utero before the baby's even born to see if that's the father or not, then you're going to have even more. You're going to have the women pushing for even more shameless and lower standards. Just for them, not for you. You understand? I mean, you think about it. In France already, what they're saying is you don't get a DNA test without a court order. You're not allowed to go for a DNA test without a court order. They are saying this in France. It's against the law. So that pretty much means she has every license now at this point, legally speaking, to breed with one and get the other one to feed. No joke. They got what they want with no consequences. And you're not allowed to complain about it. You're not allowed to have anything to say about it. And you're some kind of weak wimp if you do. Stop and think about that now. Boy, look, when I tell you it's war, you now understand why. And I'm going to be honest, legally, in terms of Western courts, I think they're winning. Thank you for listening. I hope that one day what I've said will no longer be true, but until that day, I hope it helps. Black heart, black mind, blackout. Assalamu alaikum. And now you know why I say black, heterosexual, non-select male power just because they don't like it. And you know why I say black patriarchy until extinction or judgment day.